triple header. Triple header, nonetheless. So I'm excited for that. I'm not massively excited for the Spanish circuit, but you know, I am excited for more Formula One, as always. I come to my PC this morning. I feel like there's like dirt on my mouse pad. It's like it's dirty or something. It was fine last night, and then I come this morning. It feels like it's grainy. Always the way, isn't it? Always the way. Why are things never like you left them? Ghosts? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Right. Upgrades for Ferrari this weekend. A couple of upgrades for Red Bull. Not huge ones, but a couple. No upgrades for Mercedes. As it happens, they haven't brought upgrades. They've brought weight-saving parts. Which is interesting. No upgrades for McLaren either. So, be interesting now on a circuit like Spain to see where everyone stands. Going to be curious. Hey, Current. Thank you for the 54 months. Oh, we're getting the three-way stack. You better believe it. Yes. Welcome. Thank you very, very much for the 54 months. So we got Spain, then Austria, and then Silverstone. So a lovely triple header for Formula One. All the Formula Ones, in fact, for the next 3 weeks. I mean, Spain, not so much, but Austria, I think, is a great circuit. And we've had some great racing there, as well as Silverstone. It's true. Do you know what? I'm looking forward to Friday Counter-Strike as well. I feel like the games went all right last night. Although I don't think Adam's going to be around for a while. He said he's not. He said he's playing golf at 6 o'clock. So obviously he'll be around, but on the later side of things, presumably. Thank you, Johnny, for the 87 months. But yeah, I mean, listen, I enjoyed Counter-Strike last night. I didn't play CS the night before. There's only one downside, guys, and it's a big downside. Okay. I don't even know how to. Joe's away tonight. She's going on a hen night. That means no cups of tea are going to be provided to me during CS Friday. It's tough. But with your support, I think we can get through it. Potentially, Johnny. Oh, Johnny, we've got to get back on it. My weight loss is so up and down because I'm just in a bit of a rut. Got to get back on it. You know, got to get real. We both want to lose some weight before the end of the year. No, I'm not. I don't drink at home, Current. I really don't. I go through periods where I'll have some whiskies. So let's say I fancy a whiskey one night. I tend to then go through a period where for a couple of weeks I might just have the odd tipple of an evening. but then I won't have it for a while. But I never drink like beers at home unless we've got people around or friends around. I never drink at home. It's never been something that I've. It's always been a social thing for me. Like I don't get a. It's gonna sound weird. I don't feel the need to drink for enjoyment necessarily. It's a social thing for me. Anthony Davidson on comms. Love Anthony Davidson. Bloody love him. He's great in the WEC as well. Yeah. No, we regularly go to family things, and I just say to Joe, I'll drive. But when Joe's dad is outnumbered by the women, so it's like, let's say Joe, obviously his wife, and Joe's auntie, he feels like I think he wants someone to drink with, you know. He doesn't want to be drinking as the only man. So I do it for the team, really, Johnny. You know. There has been. I don't know if you've seen the news, by the way. Before we even get into FP1, Flavio Briatore has been hired by Alpine. Now, for those of you who don't know who Flavio Briatore is, well, in 2008? He was handed a lifetime ban from Formula One. I guess this ban has been overturned, although technically he's an advisor. I'm not really sure how that works, because he was running the Renault team at the time of the Singapore Crashgate scandal. He was partly responsible for instructing Piquet to crash the car to aid Fernando Alonso. And Alpine, who are Renault, in all their wisdom have decided, let's bring him back. That'll be good for PR. I don't know why they've done this. Presumably, they've just gone mad. But yeah, I can't remember his exact role. Hold on, I bookmarked the tweet. Or the article, I should say. Let's see if I can find it. Executive advisor is his role. Interesting. Going to be interesting to see how Ferrari perform this weekend. They've got a new rear wing, slightly reprofiled side pod, a few other little bitties. It'll be interesting to see what happens with them. Anyway, Dan, how are you? Good afternoon. It's only going to be a short afternoon stream, guys, for the Formula One. And then obviously I'll be back later this evening. I will probably miss FP2. And then I'll start the stream 6:30, something like that, probably. 6:30, 7. So... It's a particularly sunny day in Spain. It was raining there yesterday. I mean, Ferrari need a better race than they had in Canada, don't they? Bloody hell. What a shit show that was. Balls, thank you for the 63 months. Ollie Bowman in the house. It's also been reported, by the way, that Carlos Sainz has signed with Williams. Now, I feel like Carlos Sainz has maybe ruined himself a little bit. I think he was holding out for Red Bull or Mercedes, and then his options have just started closing up, and his options then became Williams. And I'm surprised if that is true, that he's going to Williams. I'm surprised he hasn't gone to Sauber. Honestly, Sauber's not a particularly good car or team right now, but it is going to become the Audi works team, and I feel like with his father's connections to Audi, that would have been a logical choice in sort of with 2026 in mind. Williams, yeah, I mean, maybe Carlos Sainz is just going to sign a one-year deal with Williams in the hope that there's something else opens up, but that's the supposed rumors. How true it is, we don't know, but I still think the Perez decision surprises me, because listen, he's just not good enough, is he? But they're obviously perfectly happy with his. Well, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but it's largely because of the money he brings in, I think. It's largely because of the money he brings in. That's why they've chosen to keep him. I don't think many drivers, if any, could go into that seat next to Max and compete with him. I don't. But Perez isn't even competing sometimes with the people around him. You know, he's been knocked out in the last few races. He's had a bit of a mare. He'll want a better performance here. There was a stat that said Alex Albon has outqualified Logan Sargent in every race they've competed in. It was like 31-0 or something. Yet Logan Sargent has outqualified Perez like 6 times or something like. I can't remember what the stat was. I can't remember verbatim exactly what the figures were, but it was this funny stat that I was like, oh my god. Obviously, is this context to it, but still, you know, in that car, Perez has had some bad performances. And as the field gets closer now over the next couple of years, before the regulations change in 2026, you have to think that you've got 2 McLaren drivers that are scoring good points, Norris and Piastri. You've got 2 Ferrari drivers that are capable of scoring points in Leclerc and Sainz. You've obviously got Max Verstappen. You've then got the potential, if they sort it out, of Aston Martin and the two Mercedes. It's so close that to win the constructors, you're going to need all the points you can get. Yeah, I assume we're talking about the Flavio Briatore hire, Wilco, which is absolutely mental. Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought it was a good idea to rehire someone that was banished from Formula One for a cheating scandal? Who thought, let's not only rehire him to the same team he was in when he committed said scandal? The mind boggles with that. I don't understand that at all. Executive advisor is his role. Plus, obviously, not to mention that he is just a prick. Yeah, Johnny. I think yes, all of those did invest in Alpine. Yeah. I'm not sure about Rory McIlroy if he's involved. I don't know, but I definitely know that Ryan Reynolds is. Joshua, maybe? I mean, I'll take your word for it. I'm not sure. But bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Now, he was banned from Formula One. Has that ban been lifted? Let me have just a Google of this. Was that ban lifted? It must have been, right? Oh, it was overturned. Yeah, it was overturned in the French court. For whatever reason, I'm not quite sure why it was overturned. But... yeah, do you know what? Just going on to that, Ginger Eject. The fact that they asked Max Verstappen about the Silverstone ticket sales really pissed me off. Because this article about the Silverstone tickets not selling out, being blamed on Red Bull, I don't know where the original article came from, is such nonsense. Then for an actual journalist to ask Max about it is like, what? It's nothing to do with Max, nothing to do with Red Bull. It's to do with the fact that the tickets for Silverstone are not only absurdly priced, but there's a what do you call it, system. They go up in price the longer you're waiting to buy them on the website. So, for instance, me and you could be in the same grandstand, but you could be paying £400 more for your tickets because you were a lot further in the queue. I can't remember what the system's called, but like the reason Silverstone isn't selling out, and I'm fucking glad it's not selling out, is because of the absurdity of the price of the tickets. Nothing to do with Max or anything like that. It's crazy that is being pitched as a narrative, because over the past 4 races, it couldn't have been closer, really. The absurd system that they use, yeah. Boggling. Mind-boggling, isn't it? But there you go. Oh, science reporting no power. Sorry, I paused it. Well, I mean, this is the thing, because, George has been up there, Lando's been up there. I mean, as it stands right now, we haven't had the triple header, right? But as it stands right now, on paper, there is a very good chance that Lando or George could win the British Grand Prix, right? On paper, based on what we've seen. Obviously, we don't know the upgrades in Spain and what have you, but on paper, based on what we've seen over the past few races, that's a possibility. And yet the tickets still can't sell because they're too expensive. So I think it was like 400. I could be wrong here, just off the top of my head. I'm sure it was like £400 for general admission. That's just general admission. That's not a grandstand. It's like 500-600 quid if you want a grandstand, mate. Just cleaning my mouse out while I'm watching this in case you're wondering what I'm doing. Well, yeah, if you remember, Lando was leading into the first corner at Silverstone. Admittedly, it didn't last very long, but that was last year. So there's plenty of reasons, I think, to be positive about Silverstone as a British fan. However unlikely it is, but the reason that fans, aren't going there is nothing to do with Red Bull. If the tickets were reasonably priced, the fans would go, undoubtedly. I wouldn't go just out of principle. I ain't paying that much to go to a Formula One race. It's absurd how expensive the tickets are, and it's also even more absurd. It's even more absurd with the way that they're doing it, which just seems to really rip off the fans. It's bullshit. And yeah, they've added in this bridge down the back straight. I honestly didn't even realize they were doing it. I saw it. I actually made my video live, and then I saw it. I was like, fuck. But they've added in a new sort of grandstand area down the back straight. It looks really nice, but it is odd to see it, though. Yeah. If we wanted to go to Spa in Belgium or Hungary, as a British person, it's cheaper for us to buy a flight and go to those European races than it is to go to our home race just down the road. I mean, come on. That's not right, Michael. Michael, no! Well, the problem is, the people that run Silverstone are completely out of touch, Red. On the outside of Maggott and Beckett's, they've built all those homes for rich people to buy that are like 2.5 million each, and you don't even own them. It's like a ratted system where you're allowed to be at that house for a certain amount of times over a race weekend. Like, it's like 2.5 million, right? And every racing event at Silverstone, whether it's British Touring Cars, MotoGP, has like almost like a point system, if you like, of cost of days. And you only get a certain amount of days you're allowed to stay at the house. And obviously, if you wanted to be at Formula One, that's costs you the most amount of points. Those people are what Silverstone is selling tickets to. The rich. And they've got to bloody fund it somehow. And the way they fund it, well, it's by ripping off the fans, isn't it? I mean, there's no other way of putting it. Those houses are so out of touch because not only have they built them there, it's prime spot for a grandstand for actual fans. It's a prime spot for it's right at Maggots and Beckett's. They could have built a grandstand there. They chose not to do that. They chose to build those fucking houses. And that tells you everything you need to know about the people that are running Silverstone. That tells you everything you need to know. So... there we go. Like, the tickets for the British GT Championship at Alton Park, I think they were about £35 or something. For like 50 quid, you get the whole weekend and you can literally walk through the pit lane. And you can just walk through the whole prep area and see all the cars as close as you could possibly want. And I know that's not Formula One, but that's still a top level racing series. And you're arguably going to get better racing when you go to see that. There's no value in a fan going to a Formula One race in the UK. There's no value there at all. And the only reason people would do it really is because they want that experience. And for some people, it might be like a one-off thing that they want to do. And that's fine. I would like to go to a Formula One race at some point, but, you know, I just resent it. Joe, there's competitions that Joe, I'm sure there was one in work. There was one in work. I think Joe had the opportunity, no, not the opportunity, but they sent some nurses to the British Grand Prix. I'm sure she said that. And there was something else. She put us in the draw for it. But I would never want Joe to pay for tickets for a race. And I'll tell you for why. Because I wouldn't pay for it myself. I wouldn't. How do you warrant it, you know? How do you warrant it? The other problem is, we spoke about this with Tilbo, because Tilbo has obviously been to the Grand Prix a few times, Marshall and what have you. The general admission is what, £350, £400 for general admission, but they make the general admission points like pretty shit. Like, they're pretty shit to watch the race from. Because obviously, all the spots that you really want to watch have got grandstands that you have to pay extra for. It's no surprise, is it? So you don't get the best view from the general admission. So, you know. So what's going on track, then? Well, let me tell you. Verstappen still has the fastest time. Russell 10th back. Sainz and Norris half a second. Lewis is just over 6/10. Leclerc complaining on the radio. He's only 6/10 back, but he's complaining the car's horrendous. They're in a very good close inspection of that airbox on the RB. All the cars look really slidey. Lando, Charles as well. They all look like they're struggling for grip out there. Don't know whether it's temperature or what. It does look pretty warm out there. Lando's the only driver to finish in the points in every race this year. Crazy. Hi, back. Howdy doody. I will say this, guys. I don't know whether you agree. Compared to the first 3 or 4 races of the season where everyone's like, oh, season's a wash, done, let's come back next year, it has started to get more interesting. I'm not even saying that Max still won't win, probably will, but we're having other people now contend for wins, and depending on where we go, we're going to have different winners. The pack is closing up big time. It's exciting. Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Well, hopefully it does continue. Do you know what? Formula 1 shoots itself in the foot. Formula 1 was as close as it has been in 2021, right? Between Red Bull and Mercedes. Then obviously new regs come in. And then the gap increases as people find the best performance, Red Bull. And then just as it's closing up again, guess what? New regs. And there might be a possibility that one team gets it bang on then as well. And is miles ahead. Like, because we're talking new engines with 50% ICE, 50% energy. There is an incredible possibility that someone gets it bang on and has a Mercedes hybrid era gap over everyone. Like, there is a very good chance that happens. So that's my biggest worry. It comes to 2026 and we see a much bigger gap between teams after we've just spent the past 2-3 years closing it up. So let's hope not. Well, everyone that's commented on them from teams says that they're going to be a lot slower. The cars don't have enough energy by the end of the straights, and on long circuits, it's going to be a real issue. We've obviously seen the contention between the, the active aero on them as well. I honestly, I feel like sometimes the people that are running Formula 1 don't really know what... It's not fair to say they don't know what they're doing, but they just live in a pipe dream or something. They just live in a world that isn't everyone else's world. Well, this is what I don't understand why they don't do that. Just go to full ICEs with renewable fuel. Surely that was the solution, right? I saw something. Oh, let me see if I can find this. I hope I bookmarked it. This reminds me, actually. Here we go. So, I don't know how much it is. It doesn't say the unit. What's MG/L in a unit? MG/L? Milligrams per liter? What is that? Is it milligram per liter? So people have been talking about these new ICEs, right? And obviously they're going to be complete renewable fuel. But one of the things that's permitted is 5 milligrams per liter of lead. Guys, I know this is going to sound absolutely mental, right? It's going to sound mental, but bear with me. There's on the field. I feel I've got a glass mouse pad, and I feel like it's getting dirt on it all the time. And in the field opposite, they're building a new estate. They're digging out the whole estate right now, and I feel like there is dust carrying into my room, and I don't necessarily realize it. But I've just cleaned my mouse pad, right? And now it feels like it's got grit all over it again. I think that's what it is. I'm not going mad. I think that's exactly what it is. But anyway, yeah, there's a bloody ridiculous amount of lead. S1, S2, and S3 is Sector 1, Sector 2, and Sector 3. The track is split into 3 timing zones. The boy in the striped pajama. What? I don't know why they're persisting. I really don't know why they're persisting with the hybrid. I really, really don't. But there you go. Contamination. Okay. But admittedly, it feels to me like having just a full IC engine, right? But with renewable fuels was the way to go. I mean, if to me, everyone that's watched Formula One for a long time, I've seen so many people saying that would have been the way, but yeah, I don't know. Well, the problem is there's still a big contention around the whole active aero thing. Because apparently, a lot of the teams really didn't think it was a good idea and they raised a lot of concerns, and yet the FIA went ahead and announced it anyway. Uh, yeah, Hamilton just running wide there. Well, yeah, because the ICE development itself is very complicated. It's very complicated and, costs a lot of money to develop. Toto Wolff looking happy. Get up. That's Toto Wolff. Stappen and Perez on the softs for some reason. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Lewis has never really been that interested in other series, whereas Max is very much someone that I could see racing in Le Mans because he's got a big interest in GT3 cars and LMPs, and he's driven those in the sim and everything, and he really enjoys that racing as well. Lewis never seems to have been that interested in doing that stuff. So really, Chris, that 5 milligrams per liter is nothing really, and it's just an allowance, essentially. Is that what you're saying? Context is key in this case, then. That's good to know. That is good to know. Because I thought it was quite a lot when I saw that post. I mean, people were going fucking mad over it. This is what happens with stuff like this. I'm reading through this post. Someone has gone and said, this is 5 times the amount of lead in traditional leaded gas. And someone's gone, where are you getting that from? And he went, I got it down in a wiki article. I think he's looking at grams rather than milligrams. So I'm looking at this article and it says 4.2 grams, but the amount in the Formula One was milligrams. But I think they just looked and not understood. As you've said, like when you actually put it into context, I like Yuki. I've grown to like Yuki more, you know. I think his petulance has got better. That's the best way I can put it. I feel like he just had some almost childish rants when things weren't going his way. Like, shut up, leave it. You know, he was too much like a kid, I think. Passionate's one thing, but his attitude I really, really didn't like. However, I think he's got a lot better at that. And he's obviously got speed. There's no doubt about that. I do think he's a likable guy. Whenever I've seen videos of him, he always seems really likable and friendly. It's just when he's in the car and he's just on the radio, he's just like, he just seems really childish. But I think that has improved. I think that has improved a lot. So there's something lying on the track there. What is that? Piece of wing? Charles Leclerc doesn't seem to be enjoying that Ferrari at the minute, by the way. As Norris, I decided to mention it, Norris did put it on P1 slightly faster than Verstappen, both on the soft tyres. Fernando Alonso's dropping bodywork. Oof. He went over the curb and something flung off. Just wants to open a restaurant. Are they bloody red flagged it because of that debris? I mean, yeah. Concentration is important. Couldn't they have just put a VSC out in the practice session and Marshall goes out and gets it under VSC? Do you know what this needs, right? This needs something like WEC where the stewards can talk directly to the drivers. Hello, this is the stewards. Please go down the back straight on the right-hand side. We're clearing some debris. Done. You know. But instead, they red flag it. So, you know, GG. GG and all right. Guys, let's talk about Logan Sargeant. Apparently, this is the first race in a while where he and Alex Albon will have the exact same car in terms of upgrades. Alex Albon has spoken quite fondly of Sargeant, saying he's very quick. No, he's not. No, he's not. Stop being. Oh no, you know he's not quick. You're just saying that. He doesn't need your pity. Alex Albon knows he's not quick. He's had 30 fucking races to prove he's not quick. We know that. That's not. It's not like a question now. We've seen it. And that's not even me trying to be harsh to Logan Sargeant. What I'm saying is, you can't just say that when the facts say something else. Oh no, he's really good at this, and he's a really quick driver. But he's not, though. He obviously isn't. We have the evidence to prove that isn't the case. You can't just say stuff that isn't true when we know that it's not true. Like, we bloody know it's not true. Again, Logan Sargeant, right, is someone who is also just comes across as a really nice guy, really likable guy. And it's all relative. I'm not saying he's not a quick racer, but in what he's shown in Formula One, he isn't quick, is he? He hasn't been able to out-qualify his teammate once. Not even once. In over 30 races. Not even once has he been able to out-qualify Alex Albon. I mean, no, he's not going to say that, Jessup. But you don't say something that isn't true. You just say whatever. No, Logan's really good. He's great for the team. His feedback's great. You say what you got to say. You don't say, oh, he's fucking dog shit. But you also don't say something that quite clearly can be proven not to be correct. No, he's a really, really quick driver. Oh, is he? Oh. Let me just go back and look at these past 40 races. It's always easy for someone who's beating someone to say, oh no, they're very quick. They're very, very quick. Well, they're not though, are they? They're not quick. You've outqualified them 40 times. That's quick, is it? It's just... I do accept that he's not, you know, he's always going to try and be positive and not say, you know, he's not going to be like, well, yeah, he's fucking dog shit, isn't he? But at the same time, it's just disingenuous at the end of the day. I don't think Logan deserved another year, personally. And I know that sounds harsh, but I think it was quite clear before this year that he wasn't good enough. And Williams especially needs someone else like Albon to maximize the limited opportunities they have for points. We've seen that this year. They've had limited opportunities because the field's so close. They need someone that's able to also be in and around that fight with Alex. But, you know, yeah, who have they had? Latifi and Sargent. Now, I accept that they're hardly... you know, they've hardly got the all the best drivers at their feet, have they? And I appreciate that. You know, they don't have the car to bring in the best drivers. I get that. So, I mean, Carlos Sainz to Williams would be something. Let me tell you. If Carlos Sainz did end up in in Williams, I would very much be interested to see how Albon and Sainz would work together and who'd be the quickest. That would be interesting to me. I don't think Zhou Guanyu will be in Formula 1 next year. I don't think Logan Sargent will be in Formula 1 next year. I also don't think Kevin Magnussen will be in Formula 1 next year. What's frustrating, this is frustrating for a lot of drivers, is that you can often be the quickest driver in Formula 2 and still not get a seat. Whereas someone who's come third, fourth, they'll get a seat. Just because of their association with certain teams or whatever it might be. It's unfortunately the way that it is. Yeah, Sainz has just been... I feel like Sainz has just been waiting for to try and make the right decision, hasn't he? And he might have waited too long for all the best teams, but Ocon will stay in Formula 1. Ocon will stay in Formula 1. Now, it'll be interesting where he ends up going to, but I think he'll stay in Formula 1. My gut instinct now is that Ocon will end up at Sauber, aka Audi. But we'll see. Ooh. That was close. Ocon could end up at Haas, yeah. The other thing is, Bottas might not stay in Formula 1 either, guys. Because Zhou Guanyu, I don't think, has performed particularly well, right? I think we can all agree on that. So I don't think Zhou Guanyu is going to be around because I don't think Audi would want him, personally. And then Bottas might not be around for the simple fact that Audi are going to want a driver lineup going into their first year in 2026. So it's very likely that that Sauber team is completely different. Yeah. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Ocon isn't going to be going to Mercedes. Obviously, Mercedes have applied for that exemption to be able to have a younger driver, which the FIA have, you know, agreed to, which means Kimi Antonelli is at least going to be taking part in some sessions. Whether they will put him in the car for next year, I don't know. Does seem to be that's the way they're going, though. I think Bottas, with his memey ways these days, would actually probably have an enjoyable time in IndyCar. I think he would be. I think he would be welcomed by the fans. He's just a little bit wild, isn't he? Joe shared a video. Obviously, we'd already seen it. It was the it was the Bottas one before the Australian Grand Prix. You know, the Bottas advert. And I said, "Yeah, I've seen it," but I said, "You need to watch it," and we watched it together. He he's he's funnier than he thinks. He's got good timing. I like Bottas. I feel like Bottas has just come into his own in Formula One though since he left Mercedes. I feel like his real personality, and he's allowed himself to be a bit freer. I've enjoyed Valtteri Bottas 2.0. 2.0, 3.0. Although Wilco does make a good point. Because IndyCar is very, very aggressive and cutthroat. So he does make a good point. Well, Bottas is still he's very good friends with Lewis, isn't he? They're still good friends. Hmm. Looks very low grip out there. Very low grip. Yeah, there is a bit of gravel touching. You're right. Yeah. I feel like it's a good driving track. This, just not a great racing track. As we how often do we say that? I feel like it's enjoyable to do a lap around Spain. But with these modern cars being so big and heavy, we don't really see interesting races and lots of overtaking here. I mean, Mercedes have been, you know, doing idiotic things for years now, haven't they? I mean, it's nothing. Is it anything new at this point? Oh, you don't think so? And of course it's a race run, Rachel. What the hell? Not the quickest lap time from Lewis. He was... Of course it was a race run. A bloody blind man could see that. What are you talking about? They're all doing bloody race runs. Hmm. Gasly with a problem with the Alpine. Maybe you should put it in the wall. I know, sorry. Briatore's not there yet, so that won't be an option just yet. Oh, I mean, listen. I'm not I'm not English, but I mean Southgate. I mean he's fucking hopeless, isn't he? How is Southgate still in that job? You talk about sabotage. I genuinely feel like Southgate is sabotaging. It's insane. If he becomes the next Man United manager, I will not support Man United ever again. Because that's a decision I can't get on board with. He's a terrible manager. He has no fucking clue, honestly. I don't know how you take that group of players and make them so bad. But he's fucking managed it. He's fucking managed it. And in the press, in the interview afterwards, he's talking about not being able to replace Calvin Phillips. What are you talking about? Are you mad? And then someone posted underneath that the last World Cup he took Calvin Phillips and never played him. So it's such a weird thing to say. It's absolutely bonkers. What a weird... I just don't get it. His decision-making for England, he's just trying to shoehorn those players into a system that obviously doesn't work and refuses to change it. His substitutes are shit. Like, honest to God. I can't believe he's got people like Palmer, Mainu. He's got them there and he's just not using... Oh, my God. It drives me mad. He's just a waste of space. What a terrible... Honestly... Get rid of him, but they won't. And sadly, as Wilco said, it is very similar to Man United, where you've got a manager that is not getting the best out of the players that they have. So, him coming to Man United, bloody hell. Yeah, I'm not even mad about Rashford, though, because while I agree most teams would have taken him, he has been poor. So I don't even have an issue with him not taking Rashford. But the way he's playing the team that he's got is... I mean, guys, Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield. Come on. And then the first game didn't go well. So he took him off. And then he's put him there again. And then he's taken him off again. And in the interview said, well, we're experimenting. Are you having a fucking laugh? Experimenting. You're in the first 2 games of the Euros and you're still experimenting. Oh, God. Bonkers, guys. If you're English, how do you manage with that? How do you manage with Southgate, man? It's just... I don't even think you need to be some sort of football expert, though, because I'm by no means a football expert. I watch football, but I'm no tactical genius. I don't know all the players. I can barely remember my own name. Even I watch that England team, though, and I'm just mesmerized by how badly he's got good players playing. It's incredible how good that group of players were individually. And I know it's different playing for your club and your country. But he's putting them in a system and positions that just isn't working. Yet and then he's making subs that don't make sense. I just don't think he's good enough. And I think the FA have kept him in that job way too long, to be honest. But there you go. Listen, you say that, and even English people who would agree with you would just go, "Oh, where are Wales, man?" Yeah, but I mean, listen, Wales are shit, aren't they? Imagine how shit they'd be if Gareth Southgate was managing them. I mean, has Mainu come on? I don't think Mainu's come on in the first 2 games, has he? Cole Palmer, I can't remember if Cole Palmer did come on in the first game or not. But, yeah. Yeah, I just feel like Mainu came on, okay. I feel like I can appreciate any frustration if you're an English fan seeing that performance, though, against Denmark. It's bonkers. Who did he bring on yesterday? He brought on what were the subs he brought on yesterday? I can't remember the lad's name. No, it's not the one I'm thinking of. Not Bowen. I mean, Gallagher. Yeah, okay, whatever. But I think Watkins was the best choice. I think he offered something different. Watkins, great, right? I've got nothing against Bowen. I can't believe you've got people like Mainu, Palmer on the bench and he's not using them. Like, I just don't. Gordon, like, he's got players and then he brings on fucking Bowen. Nah, just you can't make it make sense to me because it doesn't. You can't make it make sense to me. You can't make it make sense to me because it doesn't make sense to anyone, as far as I'm concerned. It only makes sense to him. Like, his choices are fucking bizarre. I tell you what, if they play like that with that system and the way he's playing, and he'll refuse to change it, then they ain't gonna win shit, are they? They ain't gonna win shit. Arguably, they've got the best group of players now, on paper, I think, England. But they're just not a team. Maybe Southgate is playing strat roulette. Tactic roulette. Maybe he's done a Freeman and someone in the office has bet him that no one will notice. You know? Yeah. Right. That's it for the afternoon, my loves. That's it for the afternoon. I will, of course, be back later on the Twitch. Thank you for watching on YouTube. On Twitch, we'll be back for some Counter-Strike later on this evening. I probably won't be back now, I don't think, until about 6:30-ish. But we will carry on this discussion, and we'll have a bit of bants. We'll play a bit of Counter-Strike, and we'll have a lovely time. Thank you for joining with me. I love you, and I'll see you on the flip side. Goodbye.